Hi, happy Sunday. Today we are going to be doing a slightly longer, really accessible and yet challenging if you are more experienced yoga flow. So we're going to be doing a traditional vinyasa flow today, which I know those of you who have seen me in person and come to my classes in person, I know you love a vinyasa flow class, as does everybody, I think. So today we are going to be treating ourselves with a vinyasa flow. If you are a beginner, don't worry, there will be plenty of adaptations, and actually the flow that we're doing is really good for that. Because what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing each flow twice. We're going to do the first flow a little bit faster, and then the second flow we're going to hold those poses for longer. You might find the faster flow harder, you might find the slower flow harder. Particularly the slower holds, where we're holding those poses for longer, those slower flows, those can really start to get into the muscles, particularly the quads as we're coming into our warrior poses. Breathe into it, have a smile on your face if you can, and just enjoy it. Remembering why we're here, why we're doing this Advent calendar. We are here to create calm, to settle in, and just to create a little bit of nourishment, a little bit of quiet in what can be a very stressful, busy period. So finding our Christmas calm today with a vinyasa yoga practice. If you've never met me before, welcome. My name's Naomi and thank you for joining me. And if you are coming back for more, then thank you for coming back. So we're going to start today in our child's pose. So just gently bringing the knees out about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider really, bringing them chest width apart. Stretching the hips back to the heels, taking the big toes together, settle onto your mat and just make sure that you're fit and healthy to practice today. Finding your space on your yoga mat now. If you've got any blocks or bricks that you want to have nearby, feel free to grab them. If you want a blanket for the end of class for our relaxation, then go ahead and get one. And then everybody settling in, finding our child's pose. And finding a few cycles of breath now where we just begin to settle into our body. So notice how your body feels. Notice how the muscles and the joints feel today. Maybe you're doing this early in the morning and you're feeling a little bit stiff. Maybe you're doing it late at night and you've had a busy day. Whatever it is, just notice how you feel mentally, physically. Just notice, there's no judgment. Yoga accepts you however you are. Showing up is the hard part. You're here now. You've done the hard work. We're going to move through our flow together today to find some calm. And just to rejuvenate our bodies. Inhale, coming all the way up to all fours. So spread the fingers nice and wide. Take the knees underneath the hips. Inhale, dip the belly, coming through some cycles of cat-cow, and exhale round through the spine. Inhale, open the chest. Maybe you want to keep those eyes closed. Exhale round through the spine. Go ahead if you want the eyes closed. Inhale, open. Exhale round. Inhale, open. Exhale round. And then come back to neutral. Just take those hands a few inches further forward, tuck the toes and push the hips up and back. And just begin perhaps to pedal out through the feet, lowering one heel closer to the ground, one at a time. And make sure the feet are hip width apart, the lower ribs are drawn in, and the hips are extending up and back, lengthening through the spine as well as through the legs as we just pedal out the feet. Just really finding the right length between your hands and your feet so that you can feel a gentle stretch coming into the backs of the legs. If it's really intense, just bend the knees. If you have those tight hamstrings, that's always an option. And then just gently rolling forward to plank position. Find a little bit of strength now. So tuck the tailbone, squeeze through the glutes. Allow the abdominals and the whole of the core, so the back body too, to switch on and push back. Then rise to the tiptoes and exhale, sink the heels down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Gaze between the hands and tiptoe the feet all the way to the front of your mat. Bring the feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the hands all the way up to the sky. And then exhale, release yourself down towards the earth into your forward fold, into your Uttanasana pose. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, step back to plank position. And we're lowering knees, chest, chin to begin. So keep the elbows wrapped in as you lower the chest to the earth. And then inhale, wrap those elbows together. Really bring the shoulder blades closer to one another. Allow the chest to open forwards. Squeeze the glutes, cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Sigh it out if you need. Just make sure those feet are hip width apart. And then reaching right leg all the way to the sky. And then step your right foot to between your hands. If it doesn't quite get there, take a hold of the ankle and hop it forward. Inhale, reach up, high lunge, finding your power, finding your strength. Just checking front knee is over front ankle, not all the way over the toes. Find your strength, find your balance. Exhale, turn left toes out to the side, come into warrior two. So front knee bent, back leg long, gaze over front hand, arms out at shoulder height. Find your strength. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, bend into your front knee, release front forearm to thigh, and then reach up and over into extended side angle, lengthening through the obliques, perhaps through that left hip flexor as well. Exhale, rotate the hands back to the mat and step back to downward facing dog. So this is our first flow, lifting left leg to the sky. If you have a pot plant behind you like I do, be careful not to knock it over. And then gently draw left foot to between the hands. Find your high lunge, sweep those fingertips to the sky, squeeze inner thighs together, keep the glutes nice and active. Find your power, find your strength. Rotate that back foot out and release into warrior two on the other side. As you come in, just make sure that back edge of the back foot stays down. We don't want to fully flop. We want nice strong back leg. Front knee bent, gaze over front hand. Inhale, straighten front leg. Exhale, come down into extended side angle on the other side. Breathe. And then rotate back to center and step back to downward facing dog. Taking our slow flow this time, lift right leg up and step between the hands. Inhale, rise, find high lunge. And find your breath. Find your gaze, your drishti, to a fixed point. That's going to help you with your focus. And just breathe in and out through the nose if you can. So keep your breath in and out through your nose to help you to stay calm, to help you to stay focused. One more cycle of breath. And then exhale, rotate that back foot out. Come into warrior two. Gaze over that front middle finger. You might start to feel those muscles working. Start to feel those thighs particularly switching on. Breathe for 2 more full cycles of breath with me. Straighten the front leg and then exhale, release front forearm to front thigh and extend that top hand up and over. If this is enough or you're feeling tight or perhaps you're new to yoga, stay here. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, take that right hand to the inside of the right foot and come into that deeper variation of extended side angle. Just make sure that the left hip doesn't roll forward and it stays evenly stacked. We breathe for 3. For 2, for 1. Rotate back to center and step back to downward facing dog. And then in our downward facing dog, stepping the left foot to between the hands. Really setting up the back ball of the back foot, or the ball of the back foot and that front foot. Inhale, rise, high lunge. Find the squeeze of the legs. Lift the hands to the sky. Really, really feel your strength. And find your drishti again, that gaze, that fixed point. Think of it. Find it. And just embrace the little subtle movements of the body. It might be that the body twitches, the body shivers and shakes. It's okay. Settle in. You're doing great. Rotate out to the side and find your warrior two now. Gaze over your front middle finger. Remember that back edge of your back foot grounding into the mat. Front knee doesn't want to fall in, so if you've got that knee falling in, make sure you use the outer thigh, outer hip to squeeze that knee to above the ankle, not to dropping in. That's just going to protect your knee, going to protect the ligaments, going to keep your knee nice and happy and healthy. Inhale, straighten through front leg. Exhale, bend, come into extended side angle pose. So we're reaching up and over with that right hand. If you want to go deeper, you take left hand down to inside of left foot, but just make sure you don't flop forward with that right hip. You want right hip still traveling upwards rather than forwards. That's it. Breathing for 3. For 2, you've got this. For 1, and rotate yourself back to center. And step back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, option to take a child's pose, where we started, option to stay here, or option to flow through a vinyasa if you want. If you want the vinyasa, flow forward to plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, open up to cobra. And then exhale, tuck the toes, push up and back. Downward facing dog, lengthening through all of the back body, including the neck. Take a breath. Inhale, lift the right leg up to the ceiling. And then we're going to step the right foot to between the hands. Remembering you can always take a hold of the ankle and bring it forward if you need. Drop that back knee down. And then bring the hands onto that front thigh. And tuck the pelvis a little. So we're squeezing the glutes, finding that tuck of the pelvis. Just creating a deeper stretch through the hips. So we're working on our hips in this next flow. Release that left hand to the mat, reach right hand up to the ceiling, take a revolved lunge. If you're more advanced, you might want to reach back, take a hold of that back foot, only if you want. You don't have to. If that feels far too much, stay in revolved lunge. Inhale back to center, wiggle right foot to the outside of the mat and take right hand inside of right foot, coming into our lizard pose. If you want more, lift the back knee and find that variation of your lizard pose. So always taking the option that works for you today, even if that option is different to what worked for you yesterday. Drop the back knee down and then wiggle right foot all the way across the mat. So the shin comes down and we come into our pigeon pose. If you do have sensitive knees, I'd advise you skip this one out, maybe stay in a lunge. Just really be careful with your pigeon pose. Keep the hips level. If you want to take it deeper, fall down to the forearms. Take a breath. Sigh it out if you need. Inhale, come up. Back to the hands, tuck the back toe and step all the way back, downward facing dog. We've got all of that on the other side before we come through more slowly. So bring left foot forward, right knee down. Hands to the thigh. Tuck the pelvis to create that deeper stretch. And just allow the body to soften. So by tucking the pelvis, we're extending the distance at the front of the hip, which is going to create more of a stretch of the muscles as they transfer across the front. So we're basically just increasing the length of the muscles, which helps them stretch deeper, that's all. Settle in. That's it. Release right hand to the mat. Lift left hand to the ceiling. Enough. Stay here. If you want more, pick up that back foot and take a hold of it. Come into this variation if you wish. Take whichever option feels right for you today. And try to take the same option that you took on the other side unless you're working with an injury. Bring your left hand down to the mat. Wiggle your left foot to the left side of the mat. Come into lizard. If you want to take it deeper, tuck back toe, lift back knee. Find that slightly stronger variation, working a little bit deeper into the hips and also into the strength as well. Release that back knee down, wiggle the left shin all the way across, remembering taking a lunge if you do have knee injuries or if you struggle with pigeon. Untuck the back toe, come into your pigeon. Think about evenly sending the hips down to the ground, not collapsing onto the left hip, and flex your left foot to protect the knee. Come down onto the forearms if you wish, but only if you wish. You can always take the forearms to a brick if that helps you. Then lift back up onto the hands, tuck the back toe, and with strength, step all the way back. Find your downward facing dog. We're going to take that flow again, but take it a little bit slower, so hold those poses longer. So lift right leg to the sky and sweep it all the way through. Place left knee down. Option now to take hands to the thigh, or you can reach all the way up if you wish. That's just going to add in some muscles down the side of the body, and it's going to make that stretch feel a little deeper if you want. Remember to keep the lower ribs drawn in, particularly if you know you have a hypermobile back, if you have a flexible back. And breathe, settle in. Relax the toes on the front foot. And just find some breath, find some steadiness. Release left hand to mat, right hand to ceiling. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, reach back and take a hold of that foot if you wish. Whichever you choose, just settling in. Maybe closing the eyes if you wish, and just taking a few cycles of breath. Really allowing yourself to settle into your revolved lunge, whichever variation you took. Take one more cycle of breath. That's it. And then rotate back to center, coming into our lizard pose now. Either taking hands to the mat, or if you want to take it deeper, you can come down to the forearms if you wish. So leave the back knee on the ground this time, and either taking forearms to the mat for a deeper option, or hands to the earth. Right hand inside of right foot is what we're looking for here. Knowing that we're working deeper into the hips, and as we do so, you might feel that the emotions start coming up. That's okay, it's completely normal. Often this is in our hips is where we store our emotional tension. So just acknowledge anything that comes up and just let it sort of flow over you. Don't force it back down, but there's no need to engage with it if you don't need to. Take 2 more cycles of breath, whichever variation you're in. And then wiggle that right foot all the way across the mat and settle down into pigeon. Again, taking lunge if you do need that option. Settling here, or if you wish, coming down onto the forearms. Really thinking about keeping that back leg nice and long, not allowing the foot to fall to either side. And keeping the hips even. Breathing into our pigeon pose. Often one of the harder poses, this one, so just breathe into it. As long as you're not working into pain, that's okay. If anything feels painful at any point, please, please listen to your body and come out. When you're ready, press the hands into the mat. Lift the back knee, tuck the back toe, and step all the way back, downward facing dog. Pause, sending the heels to the ground, lengthen through the backs of the legs. And then step the left foot forward, again helping it if you need. Bring the hands either to that left thigh or all the way up to the ceiling, whichever feels good for you. Settle in. Reach the hands up to the ceiling, really, really enjoying this full body stretch that we're working through. Just releasing and enjoying the moment, really allowing your breath to soften you into the pose. Take 2 more cycles of breath. Releasing right hand down to the mat and take that revolved lunge. If option 1 doesn't feel quite right, if you want something deeper, then feel free to go ahead and take a hold of your back foot and come into that option 2, which is a little bit deeper, a little bit more complex. So really listen to your body. Notice what's right for you today. Close the eyes if you wish and breathe in and out through your nose. Settle into the pose. Enjoy that deeper stretch. If you've picked up that back foot, enjoy that stretch through the quad. Really just enjoy all of this revolved lunge twist. One more cycle of breath. And then release the hand back to the mat. Release that back leg down if you had picked it up. And take the left foot to the outside of the mat. Take left hand inside of left foot. If that's enough, stay here. If you're wanting to come down further, gently pour down onto the forearms. You can clasp the hands together. Just make sure that left knee stays in towards the body. If, like me, you're feeling a little bit stiffer today and you want to stay up on the hands, then go ahead. Work with your own body. Don't listen to whatever you notice anybody else doing if they're in the room with you. It's your practice, and you take whichever options are best for you. It's your choice, yogi's choice. And then just gently coming up onto the hands if you are down on the forearms, and then wiggle your left shin across the front of the mat. And then from here coming into your pigeon pose. So just allowing that left foot to find a little bit of flexion. And then gently pouring down onto the forearms if you choose. Close the eyes and just release yourself into your pigeon pose. Really think about length out through that right foot, length out through the crown of the head. Keeping a touch of engagement through the hips, so we're not fully slopping and caving into the hips. We're keeping a little bit of strength. We're not dropping into the hips too much. Just allow yourself to breathe. And then when you're ready, come back up onto the hands if you haven't already. Drop yourself onto your right hip. To your left hip, sorry, and then swing your right leg around and just gently come to cross-legged. And then just having found your cross-legged position, just gently walk those hands forward. Find yourself in a gentle, easy forward fold. Length through the spine, length through the back of the neck. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then roll yourself all the way down onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest and just hug the knees in. Maybe sway side to side if that feels good. Close the eyes and just settle into your relaxation now. And if you did bring yourself a blanket or a jumper that you want to put on now, go ahead. Wrap yourself up nice and warm, nice and cozy. And then we're going to lengthen both our legs away from each other. Just lengthen them to the corners of the mat. Maybe just roll the feet side to side a little bit, helping the hip joint to relax. Take the palms to face up to the sky. Walk the shoulder blades closer together and close the eyes. And just allow yourself to settle in. Allow yourself to fully surrender to this relaxation. There is nowhere else that you need to be right now. And if you're new to yoga and you're less keen on this relaxation part, you won't be in a few months, don't worry. But if you're unsure, know that this is such a vital part to your practice. It allows all of that energy that we've created to spread evenly through the body, but it also allows the muscles to completely and utterly relax, which will really help with recovery and with calm and relaxation of the body and the mind. So trust me, you don't want to skip this. I know it can be hard when you're at home, but close your eyes, settle onto your back, and just allow your breath to float in and out of your body. Allow yourself to melt into the earth and just completely and utterly surrender to relaxation. Nowhere to be, nothing to do. Just taking this moment, this present moment, just for you. when you're ready. If you choose, you're more than welcome to come out with me. Otherwise, feel free to stay in your relaxation, in your shavasana for longer. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, circle the wrists. Bring yourself back into some movement. And then take a full body stretch. So reach the inner thighs together, point through the toes, and reach the arms up and over beyond the head. And then exhale, roll onto your right hand side just for a moment. Just gently pause on your right hand side. And then when you've paused, when you've noticed how your calm has spread into your body, then gently make your way up to seated. Bring the hands together at the heart center. Connect the palms, the fingertips, the thumbs together, and gently drop the chin to the chest. Blink open the eyes and allow the light back in, and slowly lift the gaze. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for that slightly longer practice today, the part of our Advent calendar that hopefully you look forward to each week, where we explore a slightly longer class. You still have one more longer class to come, even though that you don't have a Sunday left, so don't worry, there is still one more longer class to come. If you did enjoy perhaps getting to know Vinyasa Yoga a little bit more, feel free to check out the link in the description below, which will take you to my online yoga course. The videos are yours forever. You can do it in whatever pace you want, but it hopefully will give you more of an understanding of how to move between some of the poses, how to align yourself, and hopefully it will help you to improve your Vinyasa Yoga if you wish. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon.